What is up, guys, and welcome back to Too Much Tech. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a quick look at the Netduma R3. This is a $250 gaming router. Has one goal, which is going to be to lower your ping and establish the best connection for your online gaming experience. For that $250, is this router worth it? Well, let's talk about some of the standout features of this router. First thing that they mention on their website is their GeoFilter 2.0. The biggest thing that the Netduma product line and Duma OS as a whole is really known for is the ability to restrict where your matchmaking actually happens. I can't really test that honestly because I can't, I guess, hop into every game that I get into and hop on game chat and say like, hey, like, where do you live? Did I notice improved connections when I had the geo filtering on? Yes, while playing on console. I'm not entirely sure that the exact latching mechanisms that they use are that great when it comes to grabbing it from a PC as opposed to grabbing it when you're playing a game on console. Even when I set my PC device in the Duma OS, it wouldn't latch on for the games that I was playing, mainly being like Destiny and Battlefield. On console, it worked every time. So if you are a big console gamer, this is a really easy product recommendation for you, just based on the ease of use. After you set up the geo filtering, I don't think you're going to really have any issues having improved connections on console specifically. The next thing that you could do other than setting a geo filter is you can check out the ping heat map, and I would do that before you set up the geo filtering just to make sure that you are grabbing servers that are pretty close to you, and also can grab players that happen to live around those servers and in your area to make sure that you're going to get great connections all the time when you're playing those online games. There is an app called Smart Boost built into the software where you can set up different activities that you want to prioritize or deprioritize in terms of making sure that you have the most optimal connection depending on what you're doing. If you're gaming or streaming, you can set those as a priority over like web browsing. So that's just another really easy thing that you can set up within a couple of minutes just to get an improved experience. Another couple of things built into the Netduma R3 and Duma OS software is the steady ping and ping optimizer functions as well. So steady ping more or less is just going to try to regulate your ping and minimize the amount of spikes that you have in terms of your online gaming experience. And then ping optimizer is going to try its best to lower your ping in milliseconds. And I will say that depending on your internet connection, you may have a huge improvement from the ping optimizer or you may not. Me personally, my internet is pretty good. Like, it's not fantastic by any means, but it is pretty decent for the area that I live in. I did not see any difference, and even that dude told me they didn't see any difference in running the ping optimizer a few times. It was literally the same number. So it's going to be a situation of, if it happens to work out well for you, great. If not, then it is what it is. Your internet must already be pretty good. Another couple of things, there are RGB lights on the router as well that you can see. I mean, they're kind of cool. I don't really care about RGB lights on a router personally. I have them turned off on my other router. Just kind of distracting, especially if it's in a place that's like pretty visible. So if you're gonna have this in the middle of a room, I mean, I guess it's cool if you want it to be kind of like an ornament, but I kind of think that routers at this point in time are kind of an eyesore. So I would really just try to hide it as best as you can. Probably turn the lights off if that's what you're looking to do, and this isn't hanging out in like the corner of your office. One thing that I will say that worked super well on this, at least on the YouTube app, was the built-in ad block functionality. So I was using YouTube on my PlayStation 5 with no account logged in, and I bounced between like 30 different videos and not a single ad loaded. But I will say, when I hopped on Amazon Prime Video, the ads still loaded. The ad block works pretty good. I would say above average, but it's not perfect and it's not going to block absolutely everything. So just keep that in mind. Now, in terms of the internet speeds that I was getting from this thing, it only pulls up to 1,000 megabytes a second. So you can't really expect more than that. And over wired connection, you'll just about get that. Over wireless connection, I did not hit 1,000 a single time. I was usually averaging between like 600 to 800 at an absolute max, but most of the time it was around 600, regardless if I was using my iPhone 15 or MacBook Pro, PS5, or any other device like an Apple TV that I have like many feet and floors separated from the Netduma. Unfortunately, this thing is not necessarily a king when it comes to range. I will definitely have this set up specifically to be your gaming router, and that's it. Otherwise, if you're trying to run a house full of items and you have a ton of things that are taking up the bandwidth, when it comes to running a lot of things, like let's say like home security cameras and stuff like that, like it'll just take up the bandwidth of the router and it won't be able to efficiently share it and divvy it up when you're using things that might be a little bit more strenuous on your internet connection. Unfortunately, because it's only dual band instead of like tri-band or quad band. There is now also a Netduma app for your iPhone or Android that you can use, which was not around previously when I tried out Netduma stuff. And honestly, that is pretty much it. This router is pretty good, but I will say that if you spend about $100 more, you can really step up to some more options that have more bands and probably more range. But just know that your gaming experience will be similar. It might not be as quick, and I think that's what Netduma is going for, is that if you want the most optimized connection and every millisecond counts, probably want to have one of these set up wherever you do your primary amount of gaming. Otherwise, if you have like, you know, smart home, essentially you have a ton of devices, you're probably going to want to set up a different router to handle all of that stuff and use the Netduma exclusively for your gaming needs.